Hello, so the denomination I chose to do are the Baptists, and we will be discussing how important the Second Great Awakening was for them. So, the Second Great Awakening pushed forward a huge momentum within the Baptist community. During the First Great Awakening, the Baptists had split into separate divisions, the Old Lights versus the New Lights. As time went on, these names changed and it became separate Baptists and regular Baptists. The Second Great Awakening, according to Donald G. Matthews, proposed the idea that, quote, the Second Great Awakening was characterized by unity as well as organization and demonstrated the dynamics of a movement, end quote. This potential definition is greatly supported by the Baptists. While divided during the First Great Awakening, they sought to actually unify the Baptist organization during the Second Great Awakening. The similarities, interestingly enough, between the divided groups were actually many. In his article, quote, "And the Baptists in Kentucky took the name United Baptists," end quote, author Keith Harper suggests and writes, actually, that Baptists, quote, both believed the Bible to be completely true. They both baptized by immersion. They both believed in local church autonomy. They both hired their own ministers and managed their own resources. End quote. The Baptist Church was organized as follows. Since it was a congregational setup, the church was self-governing and self-supporting, and everyone was on an equal playing field. It appointed its own members of the congregation to positions such as elders and deacons. But again, everyone is equal, and decisions are made by the entire church, including the members of the church. Now, when it comes to the movement of the Baptists, the number of those who converted to baptism during the Second Great Awakening was actually quite large. Perhaps the biggest movement to come out from the Second Great Awakening, according to Baptists, is the actual missionary stance. Because prior to the Second Great Awakening, missions themselves were not considered that relevant. Now, Baptists before the Second Great Awakening did believe one should minister the gospel to your neighbors, but they didn't really think about spreading the gospel to a worldwide level. The Second Great Awakening changed all this. It had a huge impact on Baptists for this reason. Baptists started going worldwide. Many of them went to India to talk about the gospel and how great God is. The other thing that came along with these missions is what we see today in missionaries. We see, yes, people go out and spread the word to different countries all over the world, but missionaries also provide care. They provide medical assistance. They treat other human beings with compassion. And this really stemmed during the Second Great Awakening. So, in conclusion, Baptists are an interesting denomination to study. Some don't even really see themselves as a denomination, but their views are different enough from the whole umbrella of Christianity to really actually become a denomination. Their thoughts are different to Presbyterians, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, all your mainstream branches of Christianity. So it was really fun to learn about the Baptists and how the Second Great Awakening really pushed forward their movement to create worldwide missionaries and to treat our fellow human beings in a much better way.